Space Exploration by Alphangai 64. Have you ever gazed up into the sky and wondered what was beyond that? About 60 years ago, humans have started to explore outer space. Space is so huge that even until now, humans still have not discovered everything which is beyond Earth. On the 4th of October 1957, the Soviet Union launched the world's first artificial satellite, Sputnik 1. The Soviet Union had taken the lead in space exploration. The space age had started. Nobody knew that from launching a satellite would go to landing on the moon, or from the assembly of the International Space Station to the first private space flights. The space race was between the United States of America and the Union Soviet Socialist Republic. The USSR started the competition by launching the first artificial satellite into outer space. That motivated the US to do better than the USSR, but the USSR continued to dominate the space race by sending the first animal and human into outer space. Yuri Gagarin was a Russian Soviet pilot and a cosmonaut. Yuri Gagarin was the first human to be in outer space. Because of that, Yuri Gagarin became an international celebrity and received many medals and honors, which included Hero of Soviet Union, the country's highest honor. His only space flight was Vostok 1. Vostok 1 was the first human space flight. It was launched on 12 April 1969 and landed back on Earth on the same day. The mission was 1 hour and 48 minutes long, and they orbited around the Earth once. The human on board was Yuri Gagarin. He parachuted back to the ground by ejecting from Skatu at 7 kilometers altitude. Neil Armstrong is the first person to walk on the moon. He earned his student pilot license when he was 16 and joined the US Navy. In school, he studied aeronautical engineering. Neil Armstrong then went with the US Navy to fight in the Korean War. After the war, he returned back to school. After the Korean War, Neil Armstrong started working with an organization which would be known as NASA. NASA is in charge of US science and technology as related to space. Neil Armstrong became an astronaut in 1962 and was the commander of Gemini 8. The mission was to connect two vehicles in space. Apollo 11 was the first spaceflight that sent in humans to the moon. Apollo 11 had 3 crew members, Michael Collins, Neil Armstrong, and Edwin Aldrin. It was launched on the 16th of July 1969 and landed on the 24th of July 1969. The mission was a manned lunar landing and it was operated by NASA. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first 2 humans to walk on the moon, while Michael Collins piloted the command module. They spent about 2.5 hours on the moon and collected 47.5 pounds of lunar material to bring back to Earth. The mission was 76 hours long. Apollo 11's navigation computers overloaded twice, for it couldn't handle data from the navigational and radar systems at the same time. But even worse, Neil Armstrong found out that below them was a bounder field, so they had to fly it manually until they found a safe place to land on. They landed with 17 seconds of fuel left. Apollo 11 had no hammocks for the astronauts to sleep in, so they had to sleep on the most unusual places. Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin also could not get the cabin to fully release the pressure of gas inside, but at the end they gave a hatch a shove to break the seal. The success of Apollo 11 was a milestone for humans. It showed that people all around the world can work together because of a common purpose. It also proved that what was considered impossible was now possible. We also now begin to understand what it's like to experience the overview effect from the surface of another planet. Some reasons for space exploration are to see if there are any other places in the solar system where humans can survive and live in, to see if there are any resources in outer space which can help us create new and more powerful things, and to seek knowledge about what it is like outside of Earth's atmosphere. Some other reasons for space exploration are to be the first ever to do it, or it might be the ultimate challenge for some people, and for everyone in the world to know you for what you have done, or to prove that what is considered the impossible is now possible. Firstly, explorers exploring into space need to do research analysis on the place that they are going to and what kind of materials and resources the place they are going to have so that they can bring it back to Earth and use it in experiments. Secondly, explorers venturing into space need to know how to mend, operate, and control a spacecraft in case there is something wrong with the spacecraft. They also need to know the planet's properties, for example, if there is any gravity in that planet. Last of all, space explorers need to be risk takers because there are many challenges that you have to be willing to face, and it's not 100% that you'll come back to Earth alive. They also need to be open-minded because we do not know much about space, so it is incredibly unpredictable. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.